following has been developed by state and provincial agencies in association with the Agency for Instructional Technology. Together, serving education.
Try some and see, since you're so smart.
I don't have to try. I can tell they're easy.
Jennifer, look at all the tokens I won. Wow, Sandy, what'd you have to do? I worked through the multiplication maze, and then I answered 3 questions from the division wizard.
Must have been easy questions.
He thinks this is for first graders. Oh, yeah? Well, I'm in your math class, Robert, and I know there are a lot of games here that are pretty hard. Robert, I challenge you to a math battle.
What is that supposed to mean?
We'll both have a half hour to try as many games as we can to see who gets the most tokens. And you only get tokens for correct answers.
Okay, and whoever loses has to buy the other one an ice cream sundae.
I'll be your coach, Jennifer.
Hey, that's not fair. Unless, okay, I'll get help too. Hey, Sky.
Hi, girls. Would you like a chance on the fraction spinners?
Yeah, how does it work?
It's easy. See these 2 spinning wheels? Well, for 10 cents, you get 2 spins, 1 on each wheel. Then, whatever fractions you land on have to be added together correctly in order to win 10 tokens.
That looks like fun. I'll try.
Thank you.
Here goes. Now my turn.
Good. Now you have to find the sum of 3/4 and 5/8.
But how do we add fourths to eighths? And look, I think our competition is getting ahead of us. Uh-oh.
Looks like the girls are going to have to add fractions with unlike denominators. The first thing they'll have to do is get the denominators to be the same. It's something like trying to add this kind of problem. 5 cats plus 3 dogs equals 8 what? If you think of cats and dogs as different denominators of fractions, you can see that something has to be changed in order to solve the problem. In this case, all we have to do is change the words cats and dogs so that they have a common term. And that word is pets. Do you see the difference? Now it's possible to do the addition because we'll be working with the same kind of thing. Both cats and dogs have in common the fact that they're both pets. When you're working with numbers and fractions, you can use the same approach. Find out what is a number common to both denominators. Let's see if Sandy and Jennifer get any bright ideas.
This is impossible.
Now, Sandy, do you think I'd give you an impossible problem? All you have to do is find the same denominator for the fractions. Then you can add them together.
Well, I think we can do that by finding the lowest common multiple. What's that? This denominator is 4. So let me write the multiples alongside. Let's count by 4. 4, 8, 12. So since 8 is the lowest common multiple, why don't we just multiply the 4 times 2? That way both fractions will have the same denominators. Yeah, but we have to change the numerator too, or else the fraction won't be equal to what it was before. So we multiplied 4 times 2 to get 8. And then we have to multiply the numerator by 2 to get 6. So we have 6 eighths. So now we have fractions with like denominators, and we can go ahead and add them. Let me do that part. So we get 11 eighths, and we can make that into a mixed number. 8 eighths is 1 whole. So I'll subtract 8 from 11, which gives me 3 left over. So I'll write 1 and 3/8 as our answer.
That's right. You could have left your answer as 11/8, but this mixed number is just as good. So here are your tokens. Good work, girls.
Thanks. Let's go see what the boys are doing at the penny toss booth.
Fractions are important in music. Most music's organized around beats. And these beats are divided into halves, into thirds, into fourths by the musicians as they play. I'm Dr. Jerry Troxell. I'm professor of music at Sangamon State University and also a professional musician. When the musicians are playing, they're not only thinking in halves and fourths of beats, but they're actually combining halves, fourths, and so forth together to make longer units of musical sound. For instance, much of this piece is organized around beats which are divided in half. Here are the halves. Now, many times those halves are held together to make longer sounds. For musicians, a working knowledge of fractions is really essential.
What fraction did you hit, Robert? I want to hit the one with the same denominator, so it'd be simply to subtract.
Well, you better aim for something with a denominator of 3 because my fraction was 2/3.
Okay. Oh, wow! Just missed it.
That's okay. I'll just change the fractions so they have the same denominator.
Hey, Robert, you can't do it that way.
Why not? I'm changing the fractions so they have the same denominator so we can do the subtraction.
But you have to keep the fractions equivalent. We have to change the numerators and denominators and both in the same way.
Oh, that's right. Let me see. So we have to subtract 3/6 from 4/6, and that makes the answer 1/6. Wow, that makes 20 tokens we've won so far. Wonder how Jennifer and Sandy are doing.
You can ask them. Here they come. Well, are you guys ready to give up?
We've won 20 tokens so far.
So have we.
That makes it a tie.
Once upon a time, there was a family of fractions who were very happy about being fractions. But they could never get together to do any math since they were all different. One was a half, another a third, another a fourth, another a fifth, and so on.
If only 2 of us had been halves.
Or 2 of us thirds. Or 2 of us fourths.
Then it would have been easy to do adding and subtracting. But how can you add a half to a third?
Or a third to a fourth. We're like apples and oranges. We're just different, that's all. There's nothing we can do about it.
Talking about apples and oranges, look who's moving in next door.
It was the fruit family, and they were all different as well. One was an apple, one was an orange, another a pear, and another a lemon. And yet, in spite of their differences, they seemed to have a lot of fun, merrily hopping in and out of fruit barrels together as if they were all the same.
How do you do it? Everybody knows that you can't add apples and oranges, and yet you keep adding yourselves together in the same barrel.
We just think of ourselves as pieces of fruit. Then it's obvious that you can add 2 pieces of fruit to 2 other pieces of fruit to get 4 pieces.
Oh, I wish I could do that.
Well, you fractions are also something else. you're a half, for instance. That means that you're also 2/4 or 3/6.
Oh.
That's right. And I'm not only a third, but I'm also 2/6 or 4/12
Hold everything. If a half is also 3/6, all I have to do is multiply myself top and bottom by 3.
And if a third is also 2/6, all I have to do is multiply myself top and bottom by 2.
And then you can add yourselves together. 3/6 plus 2/6 is 5/6. It's the same if you want to add a third to a fourth. You simply multiply the top and bottom of the third by 4, so that it becomes 4/12. And then you multiply the top and bottom of the fourth by 3, so that it becomes 3/12.
And, hey, presto! We can add ourselves together to become 7/12.
This seems so easy, it's almost like magic.
Oh, it isn't magic. It's just common sense. And you can add apples and oranges after all.
So you kids are having a math battle, huh?
Yeah, and this is going to be the tiebreaker.
Mr. Carter, can we aim for a certain fraction fish so we might make it easier?
Well, that's a good idea, but remember, you're going to have to work with mixed numbers. And each team will get one spin of the task wheel to tell you what you have to do with them.
Like addition or subtraction?
Yep.
Okay, we get to subtract. Look for 2 easy numbers, Scott.
That means we get to do the addition. That's usually easier. Got one. And here comes mine. I can't get it. Oh, there, I got it. I got 6 4/5, which has to be added to my 2 7/10.
I got a shark with 3 7/8 on it.
Which has to be subtracted to my 5 3/4.
Okay now, kids, be careful. Remember, some of you may have to rename your numbers in order to make your problems work. Ready? Get set. Go.
The lowest common multiple of the fractions is 8, so that means we multiply the parts of this fraction by 2.
So we have 6 8s minus 7 8s. Uh-oh. Now you have to do some renaming. What are the whole numbers? It looks like the lowest common multiple is 10. So now we know what to do next. Multiply this numerator and denominator by 2. So now we have like denominators 8/10 and 7/10. Now let's put the whole numbers together with them and add.
You've been working for about 1 minute now.
Hurry up, Robert.
Since this 7 is greater than this 6, we'll have to rename 5 and 6/8. We'll take one whole number and rename it as 8/8.
That gives us 4 and 14/8 instead of 5 and 6/8. Now I can subtract. This is the final form of our problem.
Well, I hate to say this, kids, but
We weren't wrong. And I know we were careful.
that's just the point. You didn't break the tie. Both of you are correct.
Well, guess there's only one thing left to do.
Yeah, truth.
Truce. Now let's go to the multiplication maze.
MathWorks is a component of the Mathematics for the 80s project and is supported in part by Exxon Education Foundation.
This program was produced by the Illinois State Board of Education under the supervision of the Agency for Instructional Technology.